Welcome to the Massillon City Council meeting for Tuesday, September the 3rd, 2024. Tonight in attendance, we have the following city officials.
Director of Development, Ted Hernkane. Here. Income Tax Budget Director, Lori Katagides-Boron. And Street Superintendent, Tom Bergasser. Here. Is there anyone from administration I missed? That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Under number 5 on tonight's agenda is where the public can speak on any item that appears on tonight's agenda. And then under number 17 is where the public can speak on any item that does not appear on the agenda as well. I want to remind everyone at this time, the cell phone, to please turn it down or set it to vibrate. Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Brian Huth.
Here.
Creamer.
Present.
Cunningham.
Present.
Gregg.
Here.
Harwick Smith.
Here.
Lewis.
Present.
Lombardi. And Ray. Roll call of 6 present.
Councilman Lewis.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilman Ray and Councilman Lombardi.
Second, please. Councilman Gregg. Roll call, please.
Creamer.
Yes.
Cunningham.
Yes.
Gregg.
Yes.
Harwick Smith.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
And Brian Huth.
Yes.
6 yes to excuse Councilman Lombardi and Councilman Ray.
Thanks, Madam Clerk. Number 2, tonight's invocation is by Councilwoman Harwick Smith, as well as the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 4, reading of the journal. Madam Clerk, are the minutes of the previous meeting transcribed and open for public viewing?
Yes, they are.
Are there any additions or corrections that need to be made?
No, there are not.
If not, then the minutes stand approved as written. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Item number 5, remarks of delegations of citizens to matters on the agenda. This is the part of the agenda where the community may speak on a topic that appears on tonight's agenda. If you'd like to come forward and speak on something, please come forward, state your name, the ward you live in, the topic you wish to discuss, and please limit your comments to 4 minutes or less. Please keep in mind there will be no personal attacks on anyone present or not present. You may, however, address departments or positions. Please remember that this is not a question and answer session. And when you have finished, please sign the sign-in sheet on the counter and leave any prepared statements for us for the records. Seeing none, we move forward. Item number 6, new and miscellaneous business. Councilman Lewis.
Yes. Thank you. I just wanted, as miscellaneous businesses to cover for this evening, that since we have 6 in attendance, just for the record, so that we're all on the same page, I would believe that we most likely do not meet the standards to suspend the rules if we were wanting to move forward on anything that was in first and second reading. So most likely our best course of action would probably be just to give those readings. And then on matters that are on third reading, since we do not need to suspend, if we so choose, we can move forward on a vote. Just keep in mind that when it comes to emergency language, you do need 6 yeses in order for emergency language to go into effect. If you get less than that, then emergency language does not go into effect, but the legislation could still pass with 5. So, that's it. I just wanted to bring everybody to the same page.
All righty. Item number 7, introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 78-2024.
An ordinance enacting Chapter 558 Tree Removal Program under Part 5 General Offenses Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Massillon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Creamer.
First reading.
Ordinance number 78-2024 has received its first reading. Ordinance number 79-2024.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1100 General Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
First reading.
Ordinance number 79-2024 has received its first reading. Ordinance number 80-2024.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1237 Economic Development Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2024.
Councilman Lewis.
First reading.
Ordinance number 80-2024 has received its first reading. Item number 8, unfinished business. Just a reminder about the fraud training that was mandated by the state auditor, David Yost. The deadline is September 28th. Item number 9, petitions and general communications.
Yes, we have a request for a new liquor license for MCM Enterprises of Massillon LLC, doing business as Minch's Brothers, located at 235 Lincoln Way West, Suite B 106, Massillon, Ohio 44647. Permit class is D1 and is located in Ward 2.
Item number 10, bills, accounts, and claims.
Yes, we have a bill in the amount of $52.70 payable to Visual Edge IT. It is our overage charge for May 24th, 2024 to August 23rd, 2024.
Councilman Lewis.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
Second. Councilman Gregg. Roll call, please.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Ryan Huth,
Yes.
and Creamer.
Yes.
6 yes to pay the bills.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President,
Yes. Councilman.
I have a question, please.
I have a question. Was this the company that we spoke about that we would possibly be paying them a year at a time? Rather than monthly because we'd always be late? This wasn't, okay, all
I think
right.
it was something else.
That was the U.S.
Yeah.
Bank lease, and we did get that bill in today. I didn't put it on the agenda because we just got it today, but I'd like to go ahead and pay it. That's the one that Ed was talking about, having a blanket agreement to go ahead and pay it because it's due.
That one?
Yeah, it's going to be due on the 21st of this month, and our next meeting is the 16th, and she only sends checks out on Monday, so that take it to the 23rd.
Be late.
So I'm going to go ahead and pay it and then just put it on the agenda for next week that it had, next meeting that it has been paid.
So that is a U.S. Bank lease agreement for our copier, is that
Correct.
And what is the amount of that?
$127.
I'd like to make a motion to direct the clerk to go ahead and pay U.S. Bank lease.
Second by Councilman Gregg. Roll call, please.
Gregg,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Ryan Huth,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
and Cunningham.
Yes.
6 yes to pay U.S. Bank, which is our lease for our copier.
Thank you. Item number 11, reports from city officials.
Yes, we have the treasurer's report for July 2024.
Item number 12, reports of committees. Our next work session will be Monday, September the 9th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Item number 13, resolutions and requests of council members. Councilman Gregg.
Thank you, Mr. President. With Councilwoman Sarita's approval, I'd like to give a shout out tonight to the Massillon Tigers for starting the season off 2-0 with 2 big wins, one against the NFL Academy in Oregon and the other one against the Glen Oak, our lately rival. So starting off the season 2-0, got a big game coming up this week with Bergen Catholic from New Jersey, nationally ranked team. In fact, they're ranked 24th in the nation. I'm sorry, they're ranked 23rd in the nation. The Tigers are ranked 24th.
So this is a huge game for the Tigers. We want to show the team from New Jersey what Ohio football is all about, and especially what Massillon football is all about. So just calling for folks in the community to come out and support the Tigers. We need a big crowd there. The weather's going to be beautiful, so come out and support the Tigers. Go Tigers. Thank you.
Councilman Lewis.
I just wanted to report out to the members of council that we received notification that the Central Committee of the Republican Party of Ward 6 will be meeting on the 9th at 5 p.m. It is the goal of that meeting to select an appointment to replace Mr. Michael Snee as a Ward 6 councilman. So it is quite possible that that selected person may be in attendance next Monday, as long as they are able to make it and we can get them sworn in on time. With that, those of you that are familiar, we will probably have to discuss at that meeting how we want to handle committee assignments, if there's any adjustments or whatnot that need to be made at that time, so that we would be prepared for the 14th to vote on whatever that resolution may or may not be.
Councilwoman Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Slater, President. Mr. Lewis, Councilman Lewis, is it open to the public, and where will this meeting be?
It is open to the public. I believe it is 5 p.m. at headquarters for the Republican Party.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Good. Item number 14, call the calendar. Item number 15, third reading ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 60-2024.
An ordinance enacting Chapter 778, Adult Use Cannabis Control, under Part 7, Business Regulation Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Massillon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Creamer.
Thank you, Mr. President. As stated, this ordinance is enacting a chapter for adult use cannabis control. We've had conversation regarding permitting adult use cannabis operators within the city. We've amended this ordinance to limit the number of operators and also adjust the fees. Are there any questions regarding this?
Councilwoman Cunningham.
Thank you, President Slater. May I have a couple of administrators come forward, please?
And they are?
Well, I'm not going to get her name right.
Lori Katagides.
Lori Cartagides, please, and Ted Hernkane. And the mayor. I just saw that he just came in.
Okay.
Please come forward.
Don't you be laughing at me.
Would you like to go first?
Well, I don't, seeing as how I've never done this before exactly, I have a couple of comments, questions, and I'm not sure, and we have the treasurer here. All right. We need to consider eventual consequences from irresponsible marijuana users that most probably will increase in numbers as time goes on. The question being, what costs will Massillon face from recreational drugs? Police may be more busy with checks or home visits to parties and more space for arrests. Social services may be needed for resources to take care of people that may become addicted. At what cost increases may occur for not only police, but even ambulance services and the fire department? And would the council be prepared to have a deeper look into these consequences, and who would be financially responsible?
Okay. Thank you, council. Ms. Cunningham, marijuana's here already. Marijuana's been here for years. Because we want to open dispensaries in the city and take advantage of other people's monies to help us, doesn't mean that more people are going to be using marijuana. I myself, I will not use marijuana, but I have to respect the fact that people voted to legalize marijuana in this state. So I myself, I won't use it, but I respect the voters, and that's why we are here. So as far as more ambulance calls, I don't think those are going to increase because there's dispensaries here. people are already using marijuana. The police officers have been busy for years dealing with people overdosed on fentanyl and other drugs. I've never seen anybody ever overdosed using marijuana. So to answer your question, our safety forces aren't going to be any more busy because we legalize or we have dispensaries in the city than people buying drugs illegally when it was illegal.
But that's not answering my question about financially, will the council be responsible if we have to increase budgets due to those questions I just asked you?
Okay, our police department, I believe, is up to 49 officers. I believe one officer, there's another officer in the academy, when he gets out or he or she gets out, will be up to 50, which is our staffing levels. Myself, I don't believe we're going to have to increase the staffing levels due to these dispensaries because, like I said, the officers that are working the streets have already been dealing with people using drugs throughout at least my career on the police department. So those people are going to continue to use marijuana, and the people that don't smoke it now, I would bet a paycheck that they're not going to start because marijuana is legal. You either use marijuana or you don't use marijuana because people were selling around the streets to begin with, and those people were maybe possibly put in some dangerous situations when they go to these drug houses, not knowing what they're walking into or who's there and possibly getting robbed. So I believe the dispensaries, the people voted yes for it, and it would be a safe place for people to buy marijuana.
Councilman Lewis?
I just want to help assist with that answer. One, you're asking if the council would be prepared, and with all due respect, Mayor Slutz, he can't answer that question because he's not the council. So it'd be our body if we were prepared, for one. For two, in my opinion, I think we would handicap ourselves because these are funds that we can be receiving through tax revenue that if we don't allow the dispensaries in, we would not be receiving, but yet we would still have the side effect of legal marijuana in our community and not have the funds to help with any kind of negative consequence thereof. For example, I was just at a Labor Day party this weekend, and it was out in the open. It was multiple neighbors sharing a community area, and as soon as you walked into the party, you could smell the marijuana, and at first I found it alarming, but then I remembered it's legal now. There's nothing you can do about it, and we don't have a single dispensary in the city yet, but yet it was still quite prevalent. So by not having the dispensaries to provide the tax dollars, we would actually be handicapping our safety forces and our social services to be equipped to handle any potential harmful effects.
Councilwoman Harvick Smith?
In response to that too, Councilman Cunningham, in response to that too, if you read the legislation, I don't know the exact percentage, I read it months ago, the state legislation, and a large percentage of this money, just like gambling, goes to people who have problems, who become addicted, who can't just be recreational, just like with alcohol, to gambling. So there is money that the state is setting aside that comes from this.
Councilwoman Cunningham?
As I've read the reports, the monthly mayor's report, they seem to be meticulous with how many ambulance runs there are and so on and so forth. Will he have records along the marijuana trail as well?
As far as who's being transported to the hospital because of marijuana use?
Or whatever, or say there's a fight at a party because everybody's high, or, I mean, we don't know what kind of effects are going to happen. We really don't.
Ms. Cunningham, I would tell you that throughout my career at the police department, we dealt with people every weekend who were drunk from alcohol and fighting like that. But the people that were smoking marijuana were pretty laid back and not causing a problem. So I don't feel that the use of marijuana or having these dispensaries in the city are going to increase ambulance calls for our firefighters and paramedics.
I just wanted to bring all this on the record. I wanted to let folks that I've been getting calls from that, asking these questions. Thank you. Mr. Gregg?
Thank you. I just wanted to add, I think that the revenue from the sale of marijuana in the dispensaries is going to much more than offset any additional expenses to the city and give us additional revenue to address those expenses. So I'm not concerned about the increase in costs involved by the establishment of the dispensaries in the city. Thank you.
So the state takes 10% of the amount of money that these dispensaries make, and the city, I believe, gets 35% of that. 36% of
The
the states of the 10%.
Councilman Lewis?
I do not have any statistics with me, but with my 16, 17 years in social services in this community, my experience has been that the financial burden and the social burden on our community is much higher as related to alcohol. Alcohol, you are dealing with deaths, you are dealing with violence, you are dealing with alcohol poisoning, you are dealing with infants born of alcoholism of their mother, which causes lifelong challenges for that child. And then you also have, the next one would be your opioids and your prescription medications that are left unattended and unsecured, and people abusing those. Those are a far bigger issue than marijuana could ever become as far as our social and economic concerns in our community, and quite frankly, probably the conversations we should be working towards addressing and when it comes to those concerns. I also wanted just to point out real quickly, if you don't mind, for tonight's vote, again, this is one of the ones that 6 would keep the emergency language in, 5 would be passage, no emergency language. Less than 5 yes votes tonight would mean that this would fail tonight. And I would just remind this council that if this fails tonight, it means we have no local governance over the dispensaries that come into this community. And there is nothing stopping them from coming into this community. They would come in and not have local regulation, meaning we would only be able to depend on state regulation if we wanted to take any action. So just think about that as we are voting this evening.
Thank you. Any more questions, Councilman Cunningham? You good?
No, but no more questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman Creamer?
Thank you, Mr. President. So if no one has any more questions, I would like to make a motion to bring ordinance number 60-2024 up for a vote.
Councilman Gregg, second. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes?
Brian Huth,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
I'm still thinking.
well, you have to vote now, dear.
I am still thinking. I have a question.
The questions were closed.
No.
It's time to vote.
No.
That would be 5
You didn't
yes.
ask, you didn't ask for my vote yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Greg,
Yes.
okay. Now it would be 5 yes, 1 no for passage.
Ordinance number 60-2024 is passed. 61-2024.
An ordinance amending Part 11 Planning and Zoning Code, Chapters 1163, 1165, and 1167 of Title 5, zoning districts of the codified ordinances of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to allow as a permitted use in all B-1, B-2, and B-3 business districts, adult use cannabis operators, and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Creamer?
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance goes hand in hand with the prior ordinance. This is allowing the adult use cannabis operators to be permitted in all B1, B2, and B3 business districts with the amending of those chapters 1163, 1165, and 1167. Are there any questions regarding this request?
Councilman Lewis.
First, this is just simply fine tuning where they can or cannot be located, I believe. Is that correct?
This is
Correct.
permitting them in those 3 business
Air
districts.
only. And then the title here says excluding historic district. I believe we had changed that, and that's a typographical error in the.
That is a typo. The actual
you.
ordinance does not have that.
Thank you.
Okay. Good. Councilman Harvick Smith, are you good? Did you have a question?
I'm good. That
Okay.
was. Any questions?
Councilman Creamer?
All right, seeing none, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to bring ordinance number 61-2024 forward for a vote.
Councilman Gregg, second. Roll call, please.
Lewis,
Yes.
Ryan Huth,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Cunningham.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Gregg
Yes.
and Harwick Smith.
Yes.
6 yes for passage.
Ordinance number 61-2024 has passed. Item number 16, second reading ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 75-2024.
An ordinance amending section 509.12 noise making and noise amplifying devices variances under chapter 509 disorderly conduct and peace disturbance of part 5 general offenses code of the codified ordinances of the city of Massillon, Ohio.
Councilman Cunningham.
Second reading.
Ordinance number 75-2024 has received its second reading. Ordinance number 76-2024.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1206 Municipal Motor Vehicle Tax Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Second reading.
Ordinance number 76-2024 has received its second reading. Ordinance number 77-2024.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1100 General Fund for the purpose of salaries and benefits for the year ending December 31st, 2024.
Councilman Lewis.
Second reading.
Ordinance number 77-2024 has received its second reading. Item number 17, remarks of delegations and citizens to matters not on the agenda. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on a topic which did not appear on the agenda this evening? If so, please come forward, state your name, the ward you live in, the topic you wish to discuss, and please limit your comments to 4 minutes or less. Seeing none, we move forward. Councilman Harvick Smith,
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
second by Councilwoman Creamer. Roll call, please.
Ryan Huth,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harwick Smith,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
6 yes to adjourn.
Stop by Liberty.